What's up, everybody? Welcome to another video. Today, I wanted to talk about whether or not I was still learning via input methods. And the answer to that is yes. The reason I wanted to make this video is because it has been a long time since I've kind of discussed, anything. I've not uploaded a lot on YouTube regularly, but I wanted to just kind of make an update video as to kind of how I'm studying, and I won't necessarily, this can go for any language or whatever, because this is just what I've done for a couple of different languages over the past 4 to 6 months or so, and I just want to talk about the process. So, am I still learning via input? Yes and no. And the reason I say yes is because I am. Now, it's not the idea behind, say, a mass immersion approach or something like that. I am taking more of a Stephen Krashen comprehensible input method, and that is what I'm doing. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm not watching stuff that I don't comprehend, but I'm doing it in a different fashion. So, for one, I am doing specific grammar study, and I've actually found that has helped me a ton. I know a lot of people are like, you shouldn't do that, you can naturally acquire it, and that's fine. I'm happy for those people. I have no qualms with that. But to me personally, I love just a little bit of just kind of guidance on what's going on. Maybe you're confused on how this verb works or whatever the case may be. And yes, I'm sure I could acquire that over time, but I can also just look that up and kind of get a better just leeway as to what's going on. And it's what I've been doing recently, and it's worked great. Now, I'm not using a course or anything like that as much as just basic grammar information, and just trying to see that. Now, one thing that I can use is something such as a Lingodeer or a Duolingo for just a little bit if there's a grammar construct that confuses me, because I think that those apps, and I don't use them a ton, but I think that those apps get a bad rap because people are like, oh, you can't become fluent through those. But I think if you use them the way that they're meant to be used, they're perfectly fine. Like, I actually really enjoy that each lesson within Duolingo is, whether or not you care about the vocabulary, it's teaching you a construct. It's teaching you this construction of how to use specific things, for example, if you're doing Japanese, it may teach you the karamare, like from to construction or something like that. Or if you're learning like Spanish, it could teach you how to properly attach the like lo and las, and then le, and like the little reflexive pronoun, and where to put them and how to put them and how to order them. And to me, that's really beneficial. Yes, over the course of time, you can figure that out. But I also just like being told stuff. Like, I'm kind of like Michael Scott in The Office, where I'm like, explain it to me like I'm 5. And that has helped a lot. It's actually really helped me to be able to watch something and see something. And if I'm reading subtitles or something like that, I know that. I understand what that is, like what exactly that is. So I will do a little bit of grammar study. Now, the other stuff that I do, for the most part, as far as like the input goes, and I consider all the study, I just say study as a general term, but I do read a lot, which is something you guys, if you've watched this channel for a long time, you know that I always talk about trying to get into that. And I've been reading a lot. I've been reading, however, graded readers, but they're written by a legitimate author from who speaks that language natively, and he just tried to make them a little bit easier. And they're actually really good stories. I got these recommendations from my friend Shane Godleyman, who makes YouTube videos. You can check him out here on YouTube. And he was like, check out this writer. He makes great content. They're graded readers, but it's not like an English speaker trying to teach you through making short stories. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I also read Ollie Richard's books, so that's not what I'm saying. But it's like an actual author from that country who writes legitimate novels within the language, who's also just made like, elementary school books or something, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. So I am reading some stuff like that. Now, as far as what I just said about not being an English speaker trying to teach you, I do also consume media that was made for an English audience in my target language. And I know that a lot of people frown upon that, but I don't really care. I enjoy that. Like, I started watching The Good Place because I've seen the series a couple of times now and I know it. Or, you know, reading a little bit of like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, or reading a little bit of Harry Potter, or reading just any kind of stuff like that. I'll read manga. I've read manga in whatever language I'm studying. I'll literally Google manga translated to Swedish. You know what I mean? And I'll read it, especially if it's something I'm a little bit more familiar with. And you know, again, I kind of know what people say, but it's what I was talking about in the video before. I think it was before this one, where I was talking about goals, and it's just to have fun. And you know what? If that's what brings me joy, and it's getting more of the language kind of into my brain, I'm doing it, and it's working really, really well. So I do watch media. I still watch media. I will watch stuff on YouTube and things like that, and then I'll obviously watch Netflix and such. But one thing that I do, and it's actually helped me a lot more than what people talk about, and that is I will watch the show with English subtitles, and that's like, weirdly, that has actually helped me kind of understand what I'm watching better. And I don't mean because it's in English. What I mean is I'll hear the words, but seeing the English, it clicks it into place. And then I've noticed when I watch without subtitles, I'll rehear that word. But from where I've made that connection from seeing the English subtitle and then hearing it, like, it's made my comprehension of it go so far through the roof. Now, I don't do that often. I don't watch like 5 or 6 hours of television with English subtitles or anything like that. But at the same time, if you want to do that, I say go for it. You know me. If you're having fun, do it. That's the quickest way to do anything. But I still try to watch it. Or sometimes I'll like watch a show with subtitles in English, and then I'll go back and try to see how much of it I can kind of remember, or see if I can pick out the words that mean these certain things and stuff like that. And that seems to be working pretty well. But honestly, right now, my main source of like vocabulary learning and stuff like that is coming strictly from reading. It's just helping so much, and seeing words in context. And if there's a sentence that I don't know a lot of, so it's like I'm having to look up every other word, like I will look up the sentence and what it means, but I'll kind of just move on and not really stress about it. And then, which doesn't happen a lot, especially in the graded readers or anything like that, but like if it was something bigger. But most of the time when I'm reading a sentence, especially in whether it be those graded readers or Ollie's books or whatever, most of the time there's never more than 2 words in a sentence that I don't understand. And that's really helpful. But I will usually read through the sentence and just try to think about what I've read already, and then I'll try to figure out what that sentence means before translating the word. So it's almost like I'm just kind of acquiring it, and then I'll look it up. Now, a lot of times it may be a word that I know, but I will say I don't know it just in my own mental capacity based on maybe the verb conjugation ending is something I'm not familiar with, or something like that. Maybe it's a way that you say something in a more polite form versus not, something like that. So that's kind of what I mean in that. Now, obviously, there are plenty of sentences where it'll be, you know, 5 or 6 words that I don't understand, just because, I mean, that's language learning in a nutshell, right? Like, it's not everything's going to be that way. You know, if I were to try to read a book on like some sort of like medical drama or something, like I would probably be a lot more lost, but that's not exactly what I'm doing. So, but within the reading, most of the time, it's purely comprehensible. And I have noticed that that has made what I know a lot stronger because I'm seeing it regularly and things like that. Also, the reason I do that is because I never thought about it until I was watching a video from, again, my friend Shane Godleyman, and he was talking about how reading can help your vocabulary so much more because you're seeing words that you don't see within watching a TV show. If you're watching a TV show, you're seeing everything and taking it in, and that's fine. But when you're reading the book, you're reading the descriptors of the scene, what's going on, you know, you're getting a lot more vocabulary. And I mean, it's true. You do see, you know, a lot more stuff. Well, even if it's just something like, oh, it's a sunny day, like just something like that, I think can help a lot just to get a little bit of extra vocabulary in. I do, for the most part, I do listen to the audiobooks with whatever I'm reading, pending availability or if I have them. And or I guess if they're easy to find, I should say, like on Audible or whatever the case may be. So I will listen to them as I'm reading through, and I go back and forth on whether or not I like reading without the audiobook more than with. But I think overall I like reading with because it also helps me train my listening ability, which has helped, again, tremendously because you're hearing stuff when you're watching stuff. But at the same time, I also like the challenge of reading it because sometimes I feel like if you're doing it for a long period of time, you can start to kind of waver off, and you're just kind of almost like you're letting the guy talk to you, but it's just kind of going in and out, versus like if you yourself are reading the page, you're having to make the mental effort to not only read and understand what is happening, but to paint that picture in your head versus like having someone else paint it, if that makes any sense. So that's, I don't know, that's just kind of my thoughts on that. So but that's pretty much what I'm doing. So it's still very much input based. It's a little bit different than what I was doing, a year and a half ago at the time, where I was just aimlessly watching stuff and kind of like, well, at some point this is going to stick, which is my own fault. That's my own stupidity. I'm not blaming anybody. That's just me being an idiot. But that's kind of what language learning is a process of learning how to do stuff. And even if you have somebody lay it out for you, you still kind of have to learn how to do it from that form and adapt it to kind of meet your own personal goals. So, but that is going to be the video today. I think I've rambled long enough. I just wanted to make that. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next video.